Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my January wrap up. It is literally mid-February. This video is going up basically at the end of February, and that drives me crazy. Let me know if it bothers you as much as it bothers me. You probably don't care, but literally it gives me anxiety when I post my wrap up so late, but it happens every single month. It's just I don't have a day to film, and then it's mid-month, and then I have to edit it, and I have a video going up before this one, so it's just so late when these videos go up. But since I read quite a bit each month, I don't want to combine months because then it's just so long. So oh well, we're just gonna film this now and it'll be up late. I read so many good books in January. I read a lot of arcs. I'm sorry about that. I also would like you to let me know if that bothers you because it gives me anxiety as well when I read a bunch of arcs that are not out or won't be out. Obviously arcs aren't out, but like when they won't be out for months, I feel like I'm annoying. So let me know. Well, don't tell me I'm annoying, but maybe just let me know your thoughts on arcs. I think I'm going to change how I talk about them in 2025. I'm going to like have a shorter review in my wrap-ups for arcs and save my full review for like Goodreads and like closer to release, especially books that don't come out for literally months. Like I have a book from January that comes out in October, one that comes out in August. Like that's just so long from now because it's literally February. So I find it annoying to like harp on a book when it's gonna be so long before it's out. So that's kind of the thought process I've had and what I'm gonna do in my wrap-ups, I think. So let me know if you are okay with that, but that's my plan. Oh, also I am planning on, we're not planning, my goal is to put or post my review for every single book I read in 2025 on Goodreads. So I haven't done all of my, like up until this point, there's a few I haven't reviewed, but I have like written the reviews. I just haven't put them on Goodreads. So if you want to see my reviews, especially in real time of books I've read, follow my Goodreads. I am posting reviews of every single book on there. So if you're interested in that, you should go there. But first, in January, I read Unsteady by Peyton Corinne, and I also read Unloved in January, so I'm going to talk about them at the same time. These are both hockey romances. So Unsteady is Black Cat Golden Retriever. Definitely some mental health up in this, like anxiety, PTSD. The female main character is the caretaker for her brothers. And I would say if you haven't read Peyton Corinne's books, they are very like emotional, heavy vibes. If you like Boys of Tommen series, you would like these. If you like the Off Campus series, I think you should read these, but they are very sad and kind of really heart-wrenching at times. Peyton Corinne's like little, like not blur, but like catchphrase is writer of hot and sad people. So if that tells you about these books. But yeah, so I loved Unsteady. I gave it 4.5 stars. I just had so much fun reading this. I feel like the pacing is so good. I didn't want to put it down. It's so fast paced. I love the hockey vibes. Obviously I love a hockey romance. I love the college setting, the found family. The romance was so good. The relationship between the female main character and her brothers, and even the male main character and her brothers. The friendship aspects of this book, the yearning, the angst, so good. I feel like the emotional depth in these books is really good. There is quite a bit of spice, but the emotional depth is so good. And I feel like I found a new favorite author in these two books, which is why I picked up Unloved, which is my 5-star read of January, my first 5-star read of the year. I love this book so much. Oh my goodness. This is like a tutoring situation. The male main character has a few learning disabilities that hinders him from like being able to study and things like that. So he gets a tutor who is the female main character, and he's also a hockey player, and he's kind of like the playboy, or like kind of everyone wants to be with him situation. He doesn't have a bad reputation in breaking people's hearts, but he's just kind of known as like the golden retriever, playboy, all the girls want to be with him situation. And the female main character is very much a hopeless romantic. She wants to just be loved and seen for who she is. I feel like both of these characters want to just be seen for who they are, and this romance is so good. It is so heart-wrenching at times, literally brutal. And one character in this book makes me so mad. I've never wanted to punch a male main character like I have in this book, who is a like ex-boyfriend situation. Oh my gosh, I literally wanted to smack him in the face. He was the worst, and it makes me sad because I feel like there's like the situation in this book is very much happening to girls in real life, and it makes me so sad. So like I was so happy once the female main character realized her worth. I feel like literally my stomach was hurting. I was like literally the angst. I feel like Peyton Corinne is so good at angst, yearning, and just like literally breaking your heart but putting it back together. That's the vibes of this book. I loved how they both treated each other. Like they both were just so kind and incredible to each other, and I feel like Ro, the female main character, really learned what she deserved, and Freddie treated her absolutely incredibly. In the same way for him, like he realized what he deserved, and she treated him the way he deserved to be treated, and it was just so beautiful. The romance, the slow burn, friends to lovers, ate it up. So good. You need to read this series. You don't have to read them in order. They are interconnected standalones, but they happen at the same time. So you could definitely read them out of order. I also love the found family and seeing all the hockey players. It was so good. And also Peyton Corinne is very intentional with music in her books, which I love as well. And I just love this book. I have this part of my review I'm gonna read. I wrote, what a beautiful romance of two people coming together to help each other, be careful with each other, and show each other what true love looks like. That's all you need to know. 5 stars. Favorite book of January, obviously one of my favorite books of the year. So good. Then I read an arc of The Wish Witch by Lynn Painter, which is her middle grade debut. Comes out in May, I want to say. And this was just a fun time. I really enjoyed it. It's obviously for middle grade, so I'm not the target audience for this book, but I still had a grand old time reading it. I love Lynn Painter's books, and I also read her adult book in this month as well. But it was just so fun. It's kind of like magical realism, a little bit of romance, some found family, friendship aspects. I feel like if you were in middle school, high school, you should read this because it's just so fun. I really enjoyed it. Gave it like 4 stars, but I feel like middle grade, it's hard for me to rate because obviously I'm not the target audience, but I still had a great time reading it. Definitely recommend, even if you're an adult, I think you would have fun reading it. And it's really short, easy to read. Definitely recommend that. And then I read The Night Librarian. I don't know the author, I didn't write it down, but this is a graphic novel, also middle grade, and it's basically just this graphic novel about a night librarian, and it's really fun. Like, I read it in one sitting at work. I was wanting to read a graphic novel on my Colorsoft, so I read this and I really enjoyed it. 3 stars, just a quick, easy read. It was just a fun time. I love a graphic novel. Very easy. I feel like I needed something after Unloved because I read Unloved and then read this. I just needed something quick, easy to like get me into reading because it was so hard to read after this. I feel like when you have a 5-star read, it's hard to read after that. Then I read an arc of Good Spirits by BK Borison. I cannot believe this. How did I get an arc of this? Oh my gosh. I am so excited because I love BK Borison. One of my favorite authors, and this is her first book in her Ghosted series, and it is so much fun. It's about the ghost of Christmas past. I'm not gonna say much about it, but I gave it 4.75 stars. I didn't love it as much as First Time Caller, but I still absolutely loved it. It's so good. You definitely should read it. I feel like it's gonna be perfect for the holidays this year. It's gonna be the holiday read, I can guarantee it. And I'm so excited for the rest of the series. I feel like it was just so magical. I loved the unique premise. I loved both of the characters and just the way that I feel like BK Borison is so good at writing such well fleshed out characters, and you just know them so well. I was so intrigued to see how the story was going to unfold because it was very unique. I love so many aspects of the story, and like the characters, the banter was so funny, the writing was so good, and I just love BK Borison's books. This one was just so magical. I feel like First Time Caller was magical as well. I just love her books so much. You should definitely add this to your TBR and read it when it comes out in October. Next, I read Celebrity Crush by Christy Swift. This comes out the 11th, so it will be out when you watch this video. This is a celebrity romance, and it follows the female main character who writes a book, and the male main character in her book is inspired by her celebrity crush, and then she meets her celebrity crush, and it kind of goes from there. If you know me, you know I love a celebrity romance. It's one of my favorite tropes of all time. They're just so fun to read, and this one was so good. I had so much fun. I gave it 4 stars, and I just had a blast. I feel like there's like sci-fi references in this, which I didn't understand, but it didn't hinder my reading experience. I still really enjoyed it. I feel like if you've had a celebrity crush, if you had a celebrity crush as a kid, which you probably have, you would enjoy this book. I feel like if you enjoyed Funny You Should Ask, but want more of like a rom-com kind of vibe, you should read this. I love the plot, how the story progressed, the romance. I love that they were both parents and could kind of bond over that. You should definitely read it, add it to your TBR because it is now out. New release. Really enjoyed it. Then I read Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. This is her adult romance coming out in May. No, June? I don't know. When it comes out. It was so good. I love this book. I loved the like unique premise. So basically this girl, she is the maid for this rich guy. Like she, I think, is the maid for a bunch of different rooms or like apartments in this apartment complex, and one of them is for this really rich guy. I think there's something at her apartment where she lives where she can't like stay there. They're having to do something, so she's like, I'm just gonna stay in this rich guy's apartment because he's not here. He's, you know, out of town for work. And then she wakes up and she meets his parents, and she ends up fake dating him, and it's just so good. This is probably one of my favorite Lynn Painter adult books. I had so much fun reading it. I feel like right from the first chapter, I'm like jumping in, really invested, excited to see what happens, intrigued, interested. I love the plot. I feel like it was unique. Obviously fake dating isn't unique, but the way it was done was really unique, and the way that she's a maid, but she also has another job, and she also has like a side thing that she's doing. So she's not just a maid, but I loved that like situation and like the premise. Also, obviously he's a billionaire, which I love a billionaire in a book. Who doesn't love a man that can buy you whatever at a moment's notice? Like, let's be honest. It was just so funny, witty, as all of Lynn Painter's books are. The banter was so good, and they just fit together, honestly. Also, there's a part of this book that takes place in New York City, which made me want to go to New York City even more. Like I already did, but this scene made me really want to go. It was just so fun. I love a book that like inspires me or makes me want to do something. So anyways, loved it. So sweet, fun, quick. Highly recommend. I feel like Lim Hanger is more known for her YA books, but I really, really love this. I think there's like 2 spicy scenes, very small, short, and I just had a good time. I gave it like a 4.25. I just loved it. Maybe a 4.5. I just had a blast reading that. And I've thought about it since reading it, which is saying something. Next, I read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, which I didn't expect to read, but here we are. So as you know, in January, Onyx Storm came out, and I was sucked in by everyone on Instagram posting that they were reading Onyx Storm. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to read it, but I hadn't finished Iron Flame. So I decided I was going to finish this, so I read it, and I also listened to the majority of it on audio. And if you don't know, I tried to read this when it came out the first time because I loved Fourth Wing, and I DNF'd it like 100 something pages in because I was very bored. So I picked it back up and listened to the majority on audio, and I didn't love it. Gave it 3 stars. Not my favorite. I just think this was like, the writing is very like choppy. There's unnecessary scenes that could have been cut out. There was just some editing that needed to be done with this book, which is probably because it came out so soon after Fourth Wing. So I feel like there was just not time to really edit it. It reminded me of Aquawar in the sense there was like a lot of talk about doing stuff and a lot of meanings about doing stuff, but just not a lot of stuff going on. Like, we're talking about war, we're talking about things, but we're not doing them, which is annoying. Like, that annoys me, and that's why I did not like Aquawar. And I feel like I was bored for the majority of this book, but the end really sucked me in, got me really invested, and I read Onyx Storm in February. So if you want my opinions on that, I will obviously talk about it in my February wrap up, and I will post my review on Goodreads. But anyways, didn't love this, but I obviously continued the series, and I think the series is going to get better. Like, I think this book is probably the worst in the series, but it's gonna get better. Like, I thought Onyx Storm, little sneak peek, I thought Onyx Storm was much better than this. So next, I read another arc, Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt. I think this is an incredible second chance romance. It's the second book after Savor It, and I really, really loved it. I'm giving it like a 4.25. I was like so invested and wanted to read it so fast. It was just like a beautiful story, and the angst was so good. Like, it was just really, really good. I also love the way Tara wrote about parenthood and things like that. Obviously, I'm not a parent, but I just love the way she wrote it, and I could like understand it almost. I could feel the emotion in it, basically. I think if you liked Rock in a Hard Place, you would like this. So while you're waiting for this book to come out, you should read Rock in a Hard Place. I'm so glad that Tara's making this an interconnected standalone series because I really enjoyed this one. I didn't love Savor It very much, but I love this one. So I thought it was just an incredible second chance romance of like, it's between a divorced couple. So I'm not gonna say much. I did write my review, but just know it was a beautiful story. I could not put it down. So then I read Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. This is her new release coming out in March, and I read like 30% of this a few months ago and then soft DNF'd it. I wouldn't even call it that. I just put it down because it was very sad, and then I was like, I'm gonna wait till I get the audiobook, and then I got the audiobook in February or in January and listened to the audiobook. Definitely recommend that. It was so good. As much of it's a story on love, it's a lot on grief, and it's basically about this girl who lost her best friend, and she ends up being this nanny for this little girl, and she meets the little girl's uncle and kind of becomes friends with him, and he's like, I'm gonna help you kind of get through your grief. And so it's very much kind of a literary fiction on grief, him helping her, a romance a little bit. It's set in New York City, which I love, and it's very sad. So I would recommend you reading this when you're in a good headspace because it's sad, but I do recommend the audiobook. Like, if you're gonna listen to it, or if you're gonna read this book, which you should, listen to the audiobook because it's incredible. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I feel like Cara Bastone is so funny, and her characters have such a quick wit. And I know that comes from her having a quick wit. Like, she is just so funny, and the way she writes is so good. And I loved it in Ready or Not, so I was so excited to read this. And you could definitely see that in this book as well. Like, I feel like the characters are just so funny, and like their banter and like obviously like quick-witted was so good. Also, this is a slow burn romance. Like, if you could even call it a romance, like it's pretty much literary fiction. Like, the romance is slow burn. Let me just tell you that right now. So if you're going in for a romance, it's gonna be less of one, but I still recommend this. I thought it was a beautiful story on grief, on moving on after someone you loved has passed, of people helping you through grief and things like that. So definitely recommend reading it. It's just a beautiful story. Next, I read Please Be Mine by Kay Cinco, which is a little short story that came out literally January 30th, I think, and I just binged it in one sitting. And it's basically a like second chance situation. It's mostly told in letters, and it was just really fun. I gave it like 4 stars because I just had a fun time reading it. I had really no complaints. I thought it was just fun. I love the letters aspect, and it takes place around Valentine's Day, so perfect timing to read this. Definitely recommend. It was just a cute, fun time. Really enjoyed it. And then lastly, I read an arc of If Not For My Baby by Kate Golden. This I was very much anticipating because it is a rock star romance, kind of inspired by Hosier, which I didn't really listen to him, but I was excited about it because I love a rock star romance. So it's basically him and his backup singer, and I really enjoyed this. I haven't read anything by Kate Golden until this book. She has some fantasy books, which I do want to read now, but her writing is so good. There's some quotes in this book that I just could not believe. Like, the quotes were so good. I loved her writing. I loved how much like music was intertwined in this book. I loved the like tour, because they're going on a tour. There's like the tour bus and like behind the scenes of the band and the found family of the band and things like that, which I really loved. The lyrics that you see from like them writing songs, the concerts, the romance. It was just so good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and I definitely recommend it when it comes out in August. Not my favorite celebrity or like musician romance, but still absolutely loved it, and I cannot believe I got an ARC of it. I was so excited. So that is all the books that I read this month. I'm trying to also be quicker in my wrap-ups. I think since I'm writing my reviews on Goodreads, I feel like I can be quicker because I've like kind of written it all down of my thoughts, and I've also put it on Goodreads. So if you want more of my thoughts, if I miss something, you can go there. But also, I don't say this in my wrap-ups, and I feel like I should. So thank you to the publishers for sending me ARCs of these. Like, the books that I got ARCs for, like Forever sent me this. I need to put this at the beginning of the video, and I didn't, but Forever sent me this, so thank you so much. The ARCs, like e-ARCs, I either got on NetGalley or Edelweiss. Edelweiss is for booksellers and librarians. So thank you to the publishers, to both of those, for these ARCs. I'm so internally grateful. I cannot believe it. Like, when I get an ARC of an anticipated release, I cannot believe it. Like, I want it to be known and felt when I film these videos that I'm so thankful, and I cannot believe my life, because I've been doing book content for like almost, like, I made my book stream almost 3 years ago, and I could never imagine reading a book that I'm so excited about early, especially like Good Spirits, If Not For My Baby, reading them literally months and months and months before they come out. I cannot believe it. So I just want you to know how thankful I am, and it's because you watch my videos, you read the books that I recommend, and you like comment, engage. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful for all the ARCs that I got and the publishers that sent them. So thank you so much. I am just so eternally grateful. I cannot believe my life. I mean, obviously some of them I get because I work at a library, but a lot of them I get because of you guys and making content and things like that. So thank you so much. And I think that's it. That's all the books I read in January. So sorry this video was late, but I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know what you read in January. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.